Customer profile is the next thing that we want to talk about. Like when you have your user research results in hand, you want to process the information that you collected, the user insight, and the information mainly related to those three assumptions that's been validated basically now. So what we need to do is to find a way to feed them into our design process for the next step of our design process, which would be the ideation and problem solving, basically creative problem solving. So let's take a look at this customer profile and see how this tool could help us through this process. Okay, as I mentioned, we had this customer segment targeted. We've created our research plan, research question. We've done some kind of survey or interview or focus group, whatever we've done here. But the next step is to create our user model based on these things. And after that would be like problem solving would come next. But to create this user model, we have different choices, different tools: empathy map, behavioral map, persona, context scenario, customer profile. So these are the tools that we usually use in the design process to make sure everything's ready for our ideation and conceptualization step. Okay, and design a strategy, because everything's related to business and we want to study everything from this business perspective. So value proposition canvas is a great tool, and value proposition canvas has two parts. One part is the value map. We're going to talk about it later. The other part that we're going to talk about today is this customer profile. Okay, in customer profile, we study customer jobs, their pains and their gains. Okay, what's jobs, what's gain, pains? These are the things that we're gonna elaborate more. But let's first take a look at what's been explained in this book. This is a great book. It's highly recommended. Please go ahead if you can purchase this book and take a look. There are lots of great visuals there that explains everything clearly. That's why I use them here. Like the first step would be selecting customer segment, as we've done before, identifying customer jobs, identifying their pains and gains, and these are the three steps to be discussed today. But the next step would be like prioritization of these jobs, pains, gains. Like these are the things that we collected from our users through our user study. Okay, but now let's focus on these canvas. Okay, jobs is the first thing that we're gonna start. Then we're gonna go pains and gains, and in the next videos. This recording is more about the jobs, the users or customers' jobs. Jobs describe the things your customers are trying to get done in their work or in their life. Two things. One, jobs are basically tasks, user tasks. Jobs are not the way that make the users make money, okay? So that should be clear. So the second thing is that we don't consider all different tasks that the user does, like in their life or in their work, unless it's related to the value proposition. Okay, so everything to be seen from the value proposition perspective, from the value that we try to offer to our users. Okay, so when we talk about these jobs, it means those tasks that the users would do in order to achieve their goal. Okay, the goal that we targeted in our vision statement, basically. Okay, so customer job could be tasks they are trying to perform and complete, problems they are trying to solve, needs they are trying to satisfy, all related to problem area and value proposition. Okay, make sure you take the customer's perspective when investigating jobs, obviously. Yeah. But there are different types or categories of jobs, and we don't like they are important to be considered because not all products solve functional uh, jobs or functional tasks. Not all ideas are related to social aspects, like for example, for like social media applications, or not all of these applications are trying to focus only on emotional states, for example, like for example meditation and relaxation apps. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is that in your application design, you might have different degrees of all these types of jobs, which you need to consider. Sometimes one of them would be much more important than others. But basically, all those things that we collect, we want to document them like we already collected through our user research. Yes, we want to document and list them in this section. Okay, and it's not that much important. Like we do prioritization later, like we prioritize all those tasks later, but here just to get them from our research result, put them here. That's the first step. Okay, let's start with the functional job. Functional job are those values, those things to perform or complete a specific task. Like that's what our user want to do. The functional job is that when customer tries to perform or complete a specific task, like mowing the lawn, eat healthy as a customer, writing a report. Like if you see this from the digital product design perspective, could be something like submitting a report, confirming a purchase, or adding a shipment address, or many other functional jobs from that perspective. On the other side, like we have social aspect, like when customer want to be perceived by others, like how these customer want to be perceived by others, like want to look good or gain power or status. Social jobs, as the name entails, it more important in social media application design, like look trendy, perceive as competent as a professional, and many other things. So maybe it depends on the project that you are trying to or the problem you're trying to solve. Sometimes social aspect is not that much important, but sometimes it's part of this the solution. So we need to get back to our value proposition to see what are the other things that we can include to make it much more like more sophisticated value proposition. And another step is this emotional jobs or emotional tasks. Okay, when a user is seeking specific emotional states such as feeling good or secure, so we need to think about it from our value proposition perspective, what we can do to give this peace of mind regarding our users investment, or what we can do to help our users feel that job security, for example. Okay, how we can do that help the user to reduce the anxiety of user by organizing every task, and having a kind of notification center that every task, like to do jobs would be there, like updates would be there, everything would be there, and the history would be there, for example. So all those tasks would be there. We can mention them right here. But besides all these main jobs, we also have some supporting jobs. There are different supporting jobs depending on your product, on your project, and the value that you offer. Sometimes, if you offer, for example, value related to buying, selling, and these kind of things, then the user role like buyer would be important. So we need to think about that, how we can offer support to those buyers, for example. Okay, like all those jobs or those features of your product that could help the buyer to make their decision. like for example comparing different offers, reading reviews for example, or like that checkout hassle, shipping methods, and all those things related to like supporting users as a buyer. Okay, those could be considered as buyer's value. It may apply to your project. Basically, like if your project is an e-commerce project or something related to purchasing something. But these are some good examples here, but we can think about other supporting jobs as well. Like for example, co-creator of value. Like for example, Yelp. Like for example, Reddit. Like for example, any other applications that user create the content, like social media. Okay, so we have co-creator of value, like the user play the role of co-creator of the value because they create the content basically, or part of the content. So for example, from the e-commerce perspective, posting product review or feedback, or participating in design, or participating in product description, or any other thing. But if we think of other types of product, this co-creator of value might mean a different thing. And what we might think of, instead of thinking about reviewing and those things, we might think about other way of helping the user or supporting user in their co-creation of value. Okay, and the last one is transfer of value. When we think about this end of this cycle of our value proposition, like for example canceling a subscription, returning a product, or disposing a product, or any other thing like reselling and many other things. When we think about that part and we offer a feature related to that, that could be considered as a kind of supporting for the transfer of value. Like user appears as a transfer of value here. So we try to support them in that type of jobs. So supporting jobs could be like a list of endless supporting jobs. Here are 3 examples based on this book, but depending on the product that you are designing, you might think of other types of supporting jobs. Okay, so we need to think about all different states of or steps of this product life cycle or value proposition life cycle, and think about all those steps, like how we can help our user to achieve their goal, to get their job done basically.